That's amazing. So much water. My old buddies, this is insane. Is this really the so-called starving expert? The challenge barely started and he's already at a half-gen of wild hair, crispy outside, tender inside. Every bite teases the taste buds to the limit, and his opponent, ThelN, is even more hardcore, for 20 gin. Feasting on juicy, tender, a melting behemoth barbecue banquet. People might think they're on a wilderness vacation, to be feared in the wilds. Bear decides to challenge top survival experts worldwide, cementing his wild trio emperor title. This episode, Bear's opponent, retired soldier from Korea named ThelN. The battleground is a wasteland in Kazakhstan. They must trek through maze-like Yardang formations, then follow the river to dunes 80 kilometers away. Since wolves here are bold, production even gave them a hunting knife for safety with a whistle to start. They and the cameraman head into the valley fast. The ground is loose and steep, and the blazing sun scorches their scalps. To avoid sunburn, Bear chooses to move low along the valley first. If he can score some protein, that'd be huge. ThelN decides to find a high point to scout, but the soil is too loose. After climbing barely 2.5 meters, he slips right back down. Looks like he needs another route up. Meanwhile, Bear isn't doing much better. He's been wandering these gullies for half an hour. The terrain has him totally disoriented. He finally finds a shortcut. Almost died right there. After a few more meters, he freezes. I've been here before. Already came up here. To break the deadlock, he climbs to a high spot to recon the area. Just then, a camel carcass shows up on the ground. It's inedible now, but perfect for a makeshift ladder. So without a word, he heads to a cliff and tries it. Gotta admit, tools make a difference. In no time, he's at the top. As he scans the terrain, two little black dots appear. A closer look, ThelN and his cameraman. The moment they spot each other, they both sprint forward. At full tilt, soon, a cliff blocks their way. Young and bold, ThelN trusts his luck. Grabs a scapula, has a handbrake and slides down. Sparks fly all the way, and he reaches the bottom fast. Watching that, Bear swallows hard. Thinking of the kids at home, he chooses a safer detour. Down the slope, all folks do have luck. On the way, he finds a puddle not yet dry. Parched, he drops and gulps without thinking. A few mouthfuls of microbaric fresh water bring a rare smile to his face. But seriously, don't copy this. You don't know what elements are in that water. Still, public service announcement over. You never know what's in their periodic table stuff. After a tough trek, ThelN finally escapes the canyon, but he's on the edge of dehydration. He must reach the river for water, or he might not make it through the night. Hours later, Bear also exits the canyon. To make up time, he doesn't rest. He marches overnight by moonlight. Meanwhile, ThelN reaches the river. At the sight of water, he drinks like a cow. Rehydrated, he decides to camp here for the night. Next morning, after a night's push, Bear reaches a thicket. Messy tracks on the ground. Tell the foodie, there's protein nearby. Sure enough, soon he spots a big white rabbit. Protein delivered to his door. He won't let it slip. He stops to set a little trap. He fences a run with branches and uses spark rope to rig a snare loop. In the middle, any small animal crossing here won't escape with wings. Back to ThelN. He's planning his river route. To show off his toughness, the guy jumps straight into a deep river. After a long swim, he returns to shore, feeling the strong current. He gets a cheeky idea. Build a reed raft and ride the flow to the finish. Plan set time to gather materials. The riverbank reeds are perfect. But this project won't finish in an hour or two. After a half day's rest, Bear has his strength back to catch that thicket protein sooner. He dives into the reeds to flush it out. Half an hour later, good news. The trap caught. A 2.5 white rabbit. Success. Makes him cheer again. High-end ingredients, classic method, straight onto charcoal. Half an hour later, it's ready. One bite. Oh, my tender and juicy. Absolutely delicious. Meanwhile, unlike Bear's feast, ThelN is starving. To fill his belly, he picks up a dead fish by the shore, skewers it on a stick, and tosses it in the river. 2.5 hours later, he checks, and he's got something good. By the size, it's at least 20 jin. Back at camp, he slices off a chunk and puts it on the fire. Half an hour later, it's ready. One bite. Oh my, rich and silky, not greasy. Absolutely delicious. From his blissed out face, you can tell. The protein content puts beef to shame. Fed and watered, both soon fall asleep. Day 3 dawns. Fresh up, Foodie Bear shows off his breakfast on camera. Half the rabbit is still left. After finishing it, he heads to the river. To reach the finish faster, he'll make a raft and go with the flow. By chance, he finds a piece of wild camel hide. It's crawling with bugs, can eat it. But for Bear, it's perfect kayak material. He gathers unwanted reeds. Planning a round coracle. Method simple. Braid a reed donut. Cover and lash on the camel hide. After a full day's work, a simple wild coracle is done. To go faster, he tears a pan leg, ties it to a branch as a paddle. Gotta say, bald heads think quick. Meanwhile, Lee Ken's progress isn't far behind. In half a day, he's gathered enough materials. With the frame built, he hops on to test it. Surprisingly comfy. Just add some pieces, and he can set sail. Night falls, and the jungle dravens get rowdy. The noise keeps Lee Ken awake. At dawn, Bear launches his coracle early. Off he goes. Turns out the performance is solid. Steering's tricky, but no big flaws. Meanwhile, Lee Ken is busy too. He finds 2 wild scapula bones, lashes them to a branch for a paddle. Done. He hurriedly pushes the boat in. Long hair sees more. His streamlined pole glides with less effort. With a proper paddle, his speed jumps. Soon, he catches Bear's coracle. Bear is still lecturing himself until a friendly greeting from behind makes him realize trouble. Seeing the other's speed far exceed his, he abandons the boat to take a shortcut by land. But after a bit, he yelps in pain. The reeds are taller than him, and he can't navigate. He climbs a sapling to scout, only to find there's no path ahead. Helpless, he returns to the river to retrieve his coracle, but the shore is empty. That coracle has long been swept away. Lee Ken is speechless at the sight. Luckily, not long after, Bear finds a shortcut. After half an hour's trek, he reaches the finish. Hearing he's first, he breathes out in relief, thinking back on the ordeal. He almost sheds manly tears. Half an hour later, Lee Ken arrives too. He isn't upset to lose. Compared to city life, this small setback is nothing at all. This time, the battlefield is the Amazon rainforest, South America, where Bear spent 2.5 years and rose to fame. Beyond the complex jungle, there are bullets and storms. Beauty and cruelty in one place. Back to old haunts, it feels like home. His opponent, Donnie, is former Marine, also seasoned in jungle survival. 2 pixelated tattooed arms. Radiant alpha energy. Rules are simple. This cruise ship is start and finish. Swim to the bank where piranhas roam. Then head north, through dangerous tropical forest. Find the infamous Blackwater. Then ride it downstream. Whoever reaches the cruise ship on the Rio Negro first is number 1. Besides clothing, they're allowed only a machete. The referee signal. Both jump into the water. They're about a kilometer from shore. Hell for poor swimmer Bear. Swimming is Donnie's strength, and he quickly leaves Bear behind. Bear paddles all 4s, but barely advance, burning energy. Luckily, floating weeds give him a breather. Meanwhile, Donnie is already far ahead ashore. To expand his lead, he rushes into the forest. On the way, he spots an iguana. It's too fast, or he had crunched it like chips. Tastes like chicken. Deeper in the jungle, suddenly a branch on the ground startles him. He mistakes it, so he makes shin guards. He peels a big slab of bark, cuts it to length, and ties it to his shins to prevent snake bites. Meanwhile, Bear is still splashing, and only when he's recovered does he push on. Luckily, he spots driftwood ahead. With the extra buoyancy, he reaches the bank, panting. He rests a couple minutes, then heads into the jungle. After walking who knows how long, He finds a pond full of lilies. The blossoms are edible. A source of carbs. He chops one and eats nom nom. And a little beetle inside too, down the hatch. Meanwhile, Donnie spots a tall Brazil nut tree and fallen fruit. The kernels are rich in vitamins and splits the shell with his machete, revealing white flesh. Sweet and refreshing. The calories put beef to shame. Meanwhile, Bear hurries on. With overcast skies, he can't navigate by sun. To avoid walking in circles, he chops plants as he goes back to keep a line. Always northbound after a few steps. He hacks into a wasp nest. He bolts, cameraman be damned. By dusk, both prepare to spend the night. Bear cuts a few forked branches, stakes them as supports, then layers palm leaves on top as a roof.
这样一举行进到后期，两人都开始为作业做准备。隔夜砍下几个文字小书，插在地上。